Hello friends, welcome to the garage. As promised, today we have a very interesting and useful project. We're going to build this cat tower, cat house. What is a better way to describe this?
Cat tower.
Literally out of scraps. But even if we had to buy the material is plywood and some pieces of post and piece of fabric and some twine. So even if we had to buy this, we probably wouldn't have to spend more than $10 in material, and they usually go in the pet stores for $50 or $60. So
or more.
So stick around and you're going to see how we build this. We are starting the build by using some old pallet wood pieces, and here we're cutting them to the correct length so we can rip them later to make columns. And here we start the ripping process. We have to decide how big the column should be, and here we're doing a little bit of measuring to achieve the correct dimension that we desire. This minimizes our cost. This build cost us only a couple of dollars because we use plywood and scrap wood that we had around the shop. Again, here you have to take a little bit of care of what you are doing and cut the correct dimensions so each floor will not be crooked. The design that we came up has 4 different levels, or 4 floors if you wish. So care was taken to make sure that all the columns were the correct length. As always, when you work with power equipment, make sure that you follow all precautions and you remain safe at all times. You do not want to lose a finger in this process, and you want to make sure that everything is secure and tied up. The pallet wood we have was not enough for all the columns, so here we're using some wood that we had that is the right dimensions, and we're cutting it so we'll have the 12 columns that we are requiring for this build. Again, using a wood stop and utilizing the glue, the hot glue method that I've shared before, makes this process much faster than any other method that I'm aware of. And even though this is sped up, it still did not take us a long time to actually cut all 12 pieces that we needed. Here we're cutting the floors in the correct dimensions as well. And now we're going to soften them by making a little bit of a circular cut on one of the edges, so it will not just look like a square building. This is just to soften the whole look, and it is fairly easy. We always keep some round objects around the shop. Using the bandsaw, we make this semicircular cut, and we found that the bandsaw is actually the best tool for this business. We've sped up a lot of this, so you will not have to go through the slow process of going through it. It's fairly slow when you use a bandsaw to make a cut, but you still can see everything we do, so you can duplicate the process if you so desire. Again, having circular pieces around the shop with different diameters is extremely useful because it will allow you to make different size circles or dimensions. Here we start discussing the design. While a lot of woodworkers spend a lot of time in designing something before they start building it, I start by having something in my mind, and then I start building it, and as I start building it, we are moving in making adjustments. Here we're deciding how we're going to build the walls to make a little bit of a house in one of the levels, and again we're going to use plywood, not the pieces of wood you see here, but this is a rough dry fitting which we have found to be invaluable in our builds. So you can use any material you want to visualize what you want to do. You don't have to use the material that you will end up using, but a dry fit must always be done if you want a very good result in the end. Again, my favorite tool is used here, the Ryobi nailer, and for this build is ideal. It is not a finished project. It will not have to carry a lot of weight, so you don't really need a lot of strength. The cut doesn't weigh much. And actually, when the project was finished, I was very surprised how sturdy and strong it was. But by using the staple gun, we achieved both the strength we require, and also it was a very fast way to complete this build that otherwise would have taken us a long time. Once again, this is sped up in time, but you see all the steps that we went through, so you can easily duplicate our efforts. You see here how invaluable this tool is in any build. I've used it in virtually every build since I purchased it, and now we are just deciding which pieces are going to go where. The lower piece is slightly bigger to provide us for a better stability, and the rest of the pieces are slightly smaller, but they have the overall same dimensions, same size, so the whole thing looks uniform. You can easily see that this is a very easy build, and how already it starts to have a lot of stability, even though we use brad nails. At this stage we're not even using glues yet. I don't think we need to use glue, because the whole project is turning out to be even stronger than I thought. I consider using screws, but I end up deciding against it. As always, check for level, and that's what we're doing here, because at this stage, before we hit the brad nails, we want to make sure that our columns are level. Once we're satisfied that our columns are level, then we can permanently attach them in place, and I'm using 2.5-inch brad nails here, so the strength is there. Believe it or not, this creates a very, very strong bond. This will be very hard to take apart, even if you so wished. Again, we check for level in all corners to make sure that everything looks good, and as you can see, everything does look good in this stage, and we will continue doing that throughout the build. It's a good idea to always check for plumb and level in your builds before you continue, and you can see slowly taking place. The brad nails, because of their length, came out on a couple of spots, and I'm using my Dremel tool to cut them off so the cat will not get injured as he plays in her little playhouse. But that is very, very easy to do and yields excellent results. Because we cannot use brad nails at this stage, I brought out my pocket jig, and I will connect the next level of columns using pocket holes. There are going to be plenty of strength using pocket holes, as it's obvious this again is not something that requires tremendous amount of strength. It is just a cat house, and this is the best tool for this specific job. I like pocket holes. I don't like using them in furniture, beds or tables, etc., but I definitely use them in other projects. And what you see here is a jig that is not made by Craig, but is actually a Harbor Freight jig that works very well and has some options and some features that the Craig jig does not have, and I will make a review video to show some areas that this jig is actually better than the Craig jig. So now it is clear we couldn't have used the Ryobi here, but you can see how easily we can attach the posts using pocket screws, and how invaluable pocket screws can be in most every build that you make. And you need to be adaptable. In this specific build, nothing will show, so we don't even have to cover the pocket screws. We are going to, as you're going to see in a few moments, wrap all the posts around with rope, so nothing will be visible. So pocket screws are an ideal thing. No matter which direction you're looking at, you are not going to be able to see those pocket screws, and they will provide all the strength we need for this project without having to worry about how it looks. The pocket screws is a very easy way to attach very securely two pieces of wood, and while there is a lot of controversy, I've used them many years now without any problems. I've never had a pocket join come apart, so I will continue to use them, and I definitely recommend them, especially to new woodworkers. We decided we wanted a way for the cat to climb from one level to the next, And here we're using one of those plastic round pieces to create an opening for the cat so she can be able to not jump, but climb from one level to another level, which will give her a sense of accomplishment and play. And we're just trying to decide there what is the best location for it. Again, not everything has to be exact, and we're just going by what looks good to us at this stage. Again, the jigsaw is the best tool for this cat, and you're going to see really an amazing result. Our cat is just about perfect with this machine. You do get better the more you use any piece of machine, and we've become really good in using our bandsaw to make circular cuts. At the end of the cut, I'm going to show you what a perfect cut this ends up being. Again, it took about 8 times longer to make the cut. You do have to be slow than what you see here, but once you go slow and easy, and you're looking at your blade, your cut will be of amazing quality. Bandsaws are invaluable, and I would say that while a jigsaw could do a similar job, it wouldn't do it as cleanly. This has an absolute perfect finish. It doesn't need any sanding, it doesn't need any other finish. If this was a normal piece of wood and you wanted to display it, it will be ready. This is a very good demonstration of the abilities that you really gain utilizing a bandsaw in your workshop. And as you see here, we go slow and steady, even on and I think that's a 20x speed, but you can see that it doesn't look like we're going slow, but you can imagine that we're going very slow because we wanted to ensure that the cat was perfectly round and really good looking, and also we want to make sure that it's big enough for the cat to be able to climb through it. We're about to finish the cut and come through the pace here, and here we are, and you can see the perfection here. You can see how great it is, and here we're just attaching it on top of the existing structure, and we slowly build up from the first level all the way to the fourth. This is actually the second level, so the cat can climb through this hole from the second level to the third level and enjoy an activity that felines are really known to enjoy, and add these going ups, steps or stairs or small openings. Again, the jigsaw is required here because we need to go another level up, and we could not possibly use the Ryobi because it has already attachments in the same way. So the pocket screws did an excellent job, and because of the way they're designed, they actually provide even better strength and connect the two pieces of columns, making them even stronger than they were just with the brad nails. They are quick, they don't require a lot of fuss. It is the ideal tool. If you are a beginning woodworker, I would very strongly recommend you invest in some pocket screws. I think that they are an absolutely fantastic tool and a great addition to any woodworker's toolbox, regardless of the controversy and the, I would say, snobbery that some woodworkers demonstrate towards pocket screws. Clearly now, the Ryobi is the better tool because we have the ability to go on top, and with the pocket screws make an immediate connection. We don't have to wait. That's another advantage of these tools. We do not have to wait for something to dry. We can continue our build without any interruption using brad nails and pocket screws. And now we're cutting the plywood that will create the walls for our little cat house. This is a straightforward procedure. It is only important that everything is the same width, and that width matches what the box that we've built is. We're moving slowly, and we're taking care that the pieces of plywood, we don't have any more plywood. Here we had to use extreme care because that was the only piece of plywood I had, and I didn't want to go out and buy any more plywood. And I'm simply squaring it here, and here you see I've used that for some other project and had a cut already in it, so I needed to square it. And nothing fancy here, I'm just using what came with the table saw and making a square cut, trying to utilize as much of the material as possible, meaning I want to minimize the waste, the overall waste. So now we have two pieces of plywood that they are the correct length, and what we do now, we just saw the width and the length will be correct at the same time, and then we're going to use again brad nails to attach it and create a small little house, and that will be a very fun and easy procedure, again extremely fast. Now we'll start making the little house. We're using the plywood sides, as you can see, and attaching them to the post using the brad nailer, and that will create an enclosure. Cats love being in small enclosed places, and that will make the cat very happy. So all the pieces of plywood that we cut are now coming together to create a small little house, and the brad nailer again is the ideal tool for this specific part of the project. This has been speeded up 20 times because truly it takes a lot of time to do this, but it doesn't add a lot of value. Once you know how to use a brad nailer, you know how to use a brad nailer. But I did not want to cut any of the process we utilized out of this video, so we are showing you absolutely every step we did, every step of the way. I'm making sure that I have enough brad nails that will keep the walls straight. Notice here it was not necessary to overlap the walls because we are going to cover them with a cloth, and because I didn't really have enough plywood to create an overlap.
So we have the general structure of the cat tree here with a lower level that's slightly bigger for balance, a little house for her to hide in, as well as an escape hole to get up to the next level. And because our cat is so agile, we really feel like she could get to the top from the outside if she wanted to perch up there. So we didn't make another hole in the very top of the structure. And what we plan to do is to use some leftover carpet pad to make a soft floor on each of these levels. And then we'll cut out some fabric to put over that so that it is more resilient and will resist the collection of cat hair. So it'll look a lot prettier when we get the fabric over the outside of it. And I think what we might do for the posts is to wrap them in some sort of hemp rope or something like that to provide a little extra cat scratchiness. But it is a pretty stable structure the way it is.
In keeping with the concept of saving money, we're here using some carpet pad that we have left over from a carpeting project to make the floor of the cat house more comfortable for the cat. And we're going to put that pad in every level. And of course, where the hole is, we're going to cut the pad so the cat can go through the hole. The key here, especially when you do do-it-yourself projects, is to utilize any material you have and take full advantage of everything in your arsenal. The Skill Electric scissors we're using here are just amazing. They can cut through most material. They can cut through leather. Clearly they can cut through this. They're not ideal for curves, but they're really good in cutting, and we made them work for the curves as well. As you see, we have to go back and forward. But in any case, this is another little tool that sped up our overall process of building this cat tree, and in the end it worked well. My wife had not used it, that's why you see us here changing. She had a harder time using it than me, but it is a great tool that we put to good use in this project. This is the only material we actually purchased. This is a piece of cloth that we bought at Walmart. It was fairly inexpensive, but we wanted to cover the cat house with something, and we chose this fabric because it looks nice. And here we are using the padding as a rough way to measure. We need to go, of course, around it, so we have to cut it a larger size than the pad itself. But we've started the final stages of the constructions of the cat tree, so stick around. Now we are attaching the cloth to the structure using a stapler, an electric stapler, but you could use a manual stapler or a bright stapler. And this requires some patience. You need to be stretching the material as you go around, otherwise it will not look good. So you put the carpet pad first, and then you put your cloth over it and you stretch it to make it look nice. This is again this and the rope are the only two pieces of material we purchased for this project, so it remained extremely cheap for us. It cost us under $5 overall. The materials were both purchased at Walmart, and as you can see here, you need to take a little care of how you wrap it around, but it is not an extremely difficult process, and neither me or my wife are experts in this, so we are winging this here. So if you're an expert, you can leave a comment and tell us what we did wrong, but you get the general idea of how this whole process works. We're getting very close to the stretch to the end now, so we're almost done, so please stay around and you're going to see the final project. This process takes some time. It is not extremely quick, but, and again, I have sped it up about 20 times, but allow you to see every step so you can actually follow along if you wanted to build something like that. Also see things that you might want to do different than we did. The basic construct is the same. We use the pads as a template to cut the material and then attach it as we go along. There is no reason to not be able to finish this project in a weekend. It did take us a weekend, and I did consider making this a two-part video, but I do not like two-part videos, so it ended up as a fairly long video, and I apologize for that. But I think this is a very neat project that combines arts and crafts and woodworking. Now, it is a good idea to make relief cuts, as you can see here, so that when you go around the pole, you're not going to have a hard time manipulating the material. Those relief cuts make it much easier to work around a post. As you can see, we slowly move toward the bottom and we're almost done with the project, and this is a fun process overall. And here is where the arts and crafts part of this project is. Probably half of the project is arts and crafts and half of the project is woodworking, but it is nevertheless a fun project. It did take us 2 days to complete it, but again, as I said in the beginning, you see those things in the pet stores for $60 or $70, sometimes more, and the one we build is probably better, longer lasting, and for sure utilizes better material, and it is tailor-made for our space and our animal. So not only you save money by doing it yourself, but it's definitely a much better fit than something that it is store-bought. We found out that the electric stapler is not as strong as we were hoping, so we did have to use the hammer to put some staples in that did not want to stay in by themselves. But other than that, the process was overall very smooth. And you see here a creative angle there going through the hole to see how we use the staples to attach the material to the wood. Overall, we're very pleased with the process, and we liked how it really fit everything. And without any doubt, using electrical equipment and power tools help us really speed along this process. Otherwise, it would have taken us much longer to complete this project. And I think if you have to do everything manually, probably this will be a 3-day project. I would not recommend this as a first project. It just takes some time and it just takes some knowledge. And definitely this is not a project I would do by myself, because I don't have the arts and crafts background or skill that my wife and her friend here do have. And this requires both the arts and crafts side and of course the woodworking. But without any doubt, the end result totally worth the effort. Again, you see how using relief cuts allows to go around corners and make it look much better. Without those relief cuts, it will be extremely difficult to dress this semicircle here that the cat will use to climb up to the second level. So having that knowledge is very valuable. I probably would not have thought to do that, but luckily I was not the one doing it. So take care and follow your knowledge and your instincts on how you do that. I did speed the whole process up because while this is very interesting and it is good to see it step by step, it is both repetitive and also takes a long time. Most of the video is sped up 20 times, so you see that you have to take it slow, because even at that speed it almost looked like normal. So taking it slow is the best way to complete this project successfully and not have to worry about messing something up. We did not make mistakes in this project, which was really neat, but it did take the best part of 2 days, as I said. So it did take quite a lot of time. I did the woodworking on the first day and they did the arts and crafts part on the second day. But regardless, you could not have done it in 1 day, because this is not something that you could do parallel. This is something that you have to just spend some time and do the two parts separately. You have to build it first. The good aspect of building it nice and sturdy is that when they were trying to attach all the material, the thing was not moving at all. It was really very sturdy, and that helped them do their work without much difficulty. Here you are showing that by doing it under and then simply folding it over, you don't even see the staples outside. And here you see how we did have to use the hammer for just a little bit, because the stapler could not put the staples all the way through the wood.
So here we have our finished project. The sides of the little cat house are covered. She's got a nice cushy place to lay with the carpet pad and the fabric over top of it. We've stapled all the way around every surface to hold everything tight. And the last part of our project, we're going to wrap the posts that are holding the cat tower with this jute cord, and we're going to wrap it all the way around so it gives a little more character and a little place for her to rub her chin and scratch her face. So that's coming up next. So I'm ready to begin finishing the posts of our cat tree, and I've selected this jute rope as a cover because it's sturdy, and the cat can use it to scratch her face or rub her paws on it, whatever feels good. I know that she needs to have something to rub up against. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at the top of each post, and I'm going to wrap the jute rope around it in a spiral all the way to the bottom, and then I'm going to secure both of the ends. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to use glue, and if so, what kind of glue, but I may end up using some staples instead.
The key here is to keep the rope very tight and be very careful. Again, keep in mind this is a 20x speed, but it almost looks like normal speed. You need to be very careful how you do that. The rope must touch in each turn all the way around so it will look uniform. But you see again why I said earlier it doesn't matter that the posts do not match each other as long as the dimensions are correct, because they are going to be totally invisible. You can see the great result we achieved here. This looks just wonderful, but you have to be very tight, as I said before, and both the two ends, the top and the bottom, have to be very well secured, otherwise it will unravel, especially since it is a cat house and the cat more than likely will scratch on these poles. All poles are going to be wrapped using the same way, so they're all going to be uniform. And that's why sometimes you need to consider what the project is, and is it important that every piece of wood is exactly the same as any other piece. As you see here, the wood is totally obstructed by the rope, so it is totally irrelevant what kind of wood we had. And as you know, our wood does not match because I did use some pallet wood for some of the posts and some other wood that I had laying around, which is what you see right here. Again, you have to take your time, and as you can see here, they're getting faster in doing that. The first one was slow, but this is getting better and better because they're getting more comfortable with the process. And like anything else, the more you do it, the better you get at it. But you see how important it is that it is very tight. We use wood glue because we figure out the rope and the wood will actually bond very well using wood glue, and we were correct. The end result was absolutely beautiful and it was very sturdy. We did not have any difficulties at all with the rope unraveling, and the day I'm recording this, we've had it for a couple of days in use. The cat has been using it, and we see absolutely no sign that the rope is going to unravel or any other problem. It is very nice, it fits very nice in our house, and overall we're extremely pleased with how this came to be. This exemplifies this channel. Do it yourself is about saving money, is about having fun, is about having to learn a new skill, and this project did push our limits on those ends. The woodworking part was fairly easy, but we've not done anything else related to this project. It was the first time that we did this rope activity or using the material to cover wood, but you're going to see those techniques in other videos since we learned them in this project, and that is the other fun part. You learn. And
so as you can see, I have a little gap here where we were putting the quilted covering over the outside of the little cat house. So I have this gap of wood that's showing, and I really want to cover that up to just be cosmetically pleasing since it's going to sit in the house. So I'm going to try to fit another piece of fabric here that can hopefully cover it up.
now we're working on the final details on the project. Once you reach at this point, at any project, you look around and you see if you've missed anything, if you need to adjust anything. This is a great practice. As you heard my wife saying, we have some areas where the wood was exposed, and we decided that for aesthetic purposes we wanted to cover it so it will not be visible anymore. And that is a great thing to do, because you want everything as close to perfect as you want for all of your projects. And we are about done. You can see the project is just finished. Small details have been attended to in this segment, so it will be just about perfect. I'm happy to report that our cat totally loved it. She started using it almost immediately, and she was not hesitant at all about using it, which is really the mark of success. Whenever you build something, really ultimately, if the person, or in this case the animal that you build it for, is using and enjoying your project, then you did well. It is not as perfect as we would have wanted, and if I was to build it again, I would have changed a few things, and I might build another one in the future that will be faster to build and easier to build based on the knowledge that I gained from this. And again, this is part of the process. As you build projects, you learn and you become better and better and better. I learned a lot during this build, that you are going to see them in future projects, and also open a whole new class of projects that I have not thought before, that I will more than likely incorporate it in my channel for your enjoyment and for my progression in my woodworking skill set. Alright friends, and here we are with the final product. I hope you enjoyed this build. This is definitely a fun build that introduces a lot of interesting skills, and you can easily make it with the scraps that you might have in your garage or your wood shop, and save a lot of money in the process. So thank you for supporting our channel. If you did like this video and you want to continue supporting our channel, please smash that like button. If you don't, the other button works as well. Share, comment, and subscribe to our channel for us to continue making good content for you. And we are going to see you on Wednesday. Take care.